Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular council meeting for November 17th, 2025 for the city of Dauphin. And before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities, including the national government of the Red River Métis, in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that the regular council meeting agenda be amended as follows. We've got two additions tonight. Item 5A, outstanding water accounts that are added to taxes, and 6E, number 2, is the Sharps Committee update for November 13th of 2025, of course. So with that, any questions or comments on those additions? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. I should mention the mayor is joining us online, and so is Councillor Daly. So hello to you both. The mayor looks very excited to be here, so glad to have you along for the ride. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that council accepts the regular council meeting agenda as amended now. Questions or comments? I'm going to assume there's none, so call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that council waives the reading and accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting. That's the last regular council meeting held on November 3rd. Any comments, questions on those minutes? Seeing none, we'll call a question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray and seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that council now adjourns to hear the public hearing as scheduled. All in favor of that? And motion carried. Council will now commence to hear representations from the public for the scheduled public hearings under the Planning Act. Anyone who has not yet registered but wishes to make a presentation for the public hearings, please state your name so that we can add you to our registration list. Doesn't look like anybody is here for that, so we're good to go. So carry on here and move to item 4A, number 1. So we will now proceed with the public hearing for variance application 12.07.34940/VO-25-01/03 for Lot 8, Plan 51506 DLTO. This is 232 Hawthorne Avenue. And it's to vary the rear yard setback from 7.5 meters, that's about 25 feet, to 5.84 meters, which is 19.17 feet. And that's to allow for the construction of an attached covered deck for a proposed new dwelling and attached garage. I don't see the applicant to speak in favor of the application. So I guess, does council have any questions for the staff or administration or... Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So I guess if there's no questions or comments regarding it, we can just move right back to the meeting and then make the approval. So let's do that. We'll go moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that the public hearing for variance application for the owners and applicants Mark and Whitney Odit for Lot 8, Plan 51506 DLTO, 232 Hawthorne Avenue, to vary the rear yard setback from 7.5 meters to 5.84 meters to allow for the construction of an attached covered deck for a proposed new dwelling and attached garage be now concluded. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. And now, moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that variance application 12.07.34940/VO-25-01/03 for owners and applicants Mark and Whitney Odit for Lot 8, Plan 51506 DLTO, again 232 Hawthorne Avenue, to vary the rear yard setback from 7.5 meters to 5.84 meters to allow for the construction of an attached covered deck for a proposed new dwelling and attached garage to comply with the City of Dauphin zoning bylaw, be approved with the following conditions. Number one, applicants slash owners obtain a building permit for the foundation and on-site work and submit all required permit and construction verification documents required by the City of Dauphin for the RTM dwelling construction to comply with the building code. Number two, building layout and grading is the property owner's responsibility and shall be in accordance with the city policy and approved site plan. And number three, lastly, lot surface drainage cannot adversely affect the adjacent property. It is recommended that it be done in consultation and cooperation with the adjacent property owners. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. I'm sure Mark and Whitney are tuned in online right now and so excited. They're probably dancing in their living room. So that's fantastic. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the delegation from Manitoba Harm Reduction Network, Amanda Ledrew, and I guess you can introduce the other two here. Yeah. There's a button with a little person and there's little sounds coming out of their mouth.
Hi.
You already got it. I'm just going to stop talking.
Yes. So I'm Amanda Ledrew with the Manitoba Harm Reduction Network, and as with everything I do, I don't do much alone. So I'm usually with these guys here. And
my name is Pam Chetterbuck. I work for Prairie Mountain Health, and primarily my role is with health promotion and community development. And a piece of that is doing outreach within the community.
Margaret Zamica, public health nurse, doing outreach, harm reduction, STBBI testing.
so I did pass you guys just a little information sheet on, we won't go through it or nothing, but just the principles of harm reduction and what that looks like. And how to maybe take some ideas to implement in your workplaces or in the chamber, that kind of stuff. So pretty well, harm reduction is a public health approach to practice and programming that aims to reduce adverse health and social economic consequences of substance use without requiring individuals to abstain from substance use while accessing programming. The key idea is that we meet people in the community where they're at, and we show up, and we in turn provide resources and programming with the hopes that they find their way, and we provide the guidance for them to access and navigate through the systems in the community to avoid harm. What I do in my job personally, we do a lot of information sessions and sharing on different STIs, STBBIs. We do public health education with regard to like HIV, Hep C, syphilis, a lot of the stuff that has been outbreaking in this region, and with the intent of mitigating that transfer and transmission of those STIs. Early detection and treatment will help keep less strain off the healthcare system. It keeps people in programming, and we're able to connect with them sooner by doing what we do. So we have 4 testing events that we do a year. We have between 50 to 60 people that show up for these events. At those events, they're given a hot meal. They go through all community resources with housing, and then they go through, if they want to, go through public health for any checks that they might need. They also do vaccinations, all the STI testing, and sometimes we have blood sugar, all that kind of stuff happening. So yeah, that's pretty what we do. We help them with finding supports for housing and mental health supports, food, resources, advocacy for the hospital, all sorts of things like that. And that's pretty well it that I have. Any questions with that?
Just first off, obviously, thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for the information. I guess does council have any questions or?
Sorry, you talked a lot about STIs and that's
Mhm.
it, and this handout mentions a lot about drugs. So
Yep.
are you going to be talking about your drug harm reduction strategies too?
The drug harm reduction, we provide people with education to approach and find the resources that they need to accessing treatment. With the programming that I currently administer, I'm just meeting people where they're at to help them reduce harms in their life. So if they're getting HIV because of a needle, then I'm looking to reduce the harm by providing a safe alternative and the testing to deal with that harm and exposure.
Councillor Daly, you have your hand up. Do you got a question?
Sort of, yes. Questions, comments. Good to see you guys again. I know for a fact Amanda and Pam and Margaret do a lot of work in the community. One of the things that I don't think they get enough credit for, and a lot of questions are always asked, is around homeless people, is all we're doing is feeding them. These guys do a lot of programming, and it's unfortunately not, it's advertised well within their industry and within their community. They all know, and Ted can address this as well from going to the MMF CAB meetings, Community Advisory Board meetings, where they put out all their posters and explain to everybody what's going on in the community and how to access it. I'm just wondering if there's a way to do that more publicly outside of your scope so that citizens know it's not just you handing out needles and us giving out food. Is that something is there a way for us to help you do that? Is there a way for you to do that?
I don't know how, because the events that we do have are general access public, like anybody could show up and see what we're doing. And we do have a lot of people, sometimes about 2 or 3, that just kind of walk in to check out, they've seen the poster or came for the pizza or did whatever. I guess it'd just be getting more into the community so people weren't afraid to approach us. With regard to what you were saying with this referencing all that, with people that use substances, everything else is at harm. With your housing, your income, your jobs, your food, all that sort of securities, and then it puts you at an at-risk population. So we mitigate those harms by stepping in to refer to resources without directly attacking the substance use, and then in hopes that they find their pathing and go forward that way. But I don't know how that would work. We're getting out there. It's a lot different than we were 5 years ago when I first started, right? Like I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of you and see you out in the community, where before 5 years ago, that was a bridge that we were building, and now we're kind of walking over it. So I'm grateful for that.
Mayor,
Sorry.
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Randy. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I just one more to that end then, Amanda. I don't know for sure, but I guess that you guys aren't getting the funding you would like to do more than you're doing. You don't have to agree or disagree, but I'm just wondering, is there something we can do to advocate to specifically get you funding that will get you more, not just awareness, but more effectiveness in the street?
I don't know. I think that if we had, I don't even know if it would be down to money, right? Just partnerships, example with the chamber to, there's always complaints about businesses finding, needles outside. Maybe have a meeting with the chamber that we can go in and go to small business owners and just the support that way to get us in the door to show people how to properly pick up and dispose of, right? To have the chamber sponsor a workshop maybe that helps small business owners deal with the people that are trying to walk into the establishment that don't have the resources to be there, right? Just that kind of maybe, I think. Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Mayor Boziak.
Thanks, Christian. My comment and question is sort of related to what Councillor Daly just stated. The city has tried very hard to work with the provincial government on a variety of different projects and initiatives, and same goes with Prairie Mountain Health. One of the things that we've heard from people higher up in both the government and Prairie Mountain Health is that there are sometimes staffing issues or vacancies, which doesn't allow the service that is sort of in the org chart to actually be provided. So I'm just wondering if you need assistance or if there's any advocating that we can do on your programs or your department's behalf as we speak to the province, we would certainly like to do that, because what we're finding is a lot of the, and Randy indicated a little bit, and I think I know you're all fully aware of it, that a lot of the concerns that the general public has, they look at the city, and the famous do something, and we're saying, well, jurisdictionally, it's not our purview to do that. However, we support all the agencies and organizations that are out in the field and out on the street and in the community doing that good work. I just like to offer that if there's anything that we might be able to do at a higher level or politically, we are very willing to do that. I met with the Premier on Saturday. Randy's meeting with them and the provincial government tomorrow. He's going to the throne speech. We believe, a very positive relationship with the province. And so if there's anything that we might be able to do in the back room or with a phone call to help your programming, whether it's with funding or why isn't that staff position filled, we'd be very happy to do that, because I know what you're doing is what we need done. We want to make sure that you're fully funded and you have all the staff you need to actually do what you need to do. So again, I'd like to state what Randy said. Thanks very much for what you're doing. Continue to do it, and don't be shy in asking for assistance or help or advocacy from the city.
Well, about 1.5 million would be
Well,
be great.
But Amanda, we sort of giggle about that, but in past conversations we've had both with the Premier and with Ron Kosteshin about some of the projects and some of the initiatives in our community, we've had very positive results. When some of the people that have the ability to walk into an office or talk to a senior civil servant and say, make something happen, I can't say that we can magically do that with a phone call or a meeting, but we're constantly meeting with the province and with the other levels of government, and we want to work with them. And we got some really good vibes on Saturday. I know Randy was at the event as well, and had a chance to talk to our MLA and the Premier, and we're going to do it again soon. And so again, we'd like to really make that call if there's a call is necessary, or talk to that person if there's something that you need a little bit of help to push something over the finish line. So again, don't be shy. And 1.5, in the grand scheme of things, in the provincial budget world, it's not a lot of money if what we're doing is the right thing and very good. And I know you folks are very related to what's happening at the high rise and the good and the bad and the other stuff that's happening there. But every time we talk to provincial representatives, they're using it as a model that they want to do in other places. You're aware of that. And so, I talked to the Premier on Saturday about seeing if we can get some of the security funding back that was missing in this year's budget relative to last year. And, he nodded and he wasn't aware of it, and his assistant was taking notes. I don't know if that will make a difference, but if Randy has that same conversation with him and people in the department again tomorrow, and possibly if we follow up next week or in 2 weeks with a letter or a call, sometimes these efforts work. And I know that both Ron and the Premier both said they really value Dauphin and the support that our city has had with the provincial government in their 2 years in office, and we want to continue that. So again, we're just saying we can't do miracles, but we certainly are on your side, and we'll do whatever we can to spread a message.
I think in quick reference and wish, it would be for a navigator position with someone that was completely street level outreach that did nothing but interact and directly connect, like bring Tommy to AFM instead of saying AFM's right here, right?
Okay.
So I think that would be it. So a salaried position for something like that.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I will say too, I appreciate all of your comments, but the number one thing is we are all working trying to get services to people, but the number one thing that keeps coming up is lack of affordable housing. That is why we have the Safe and Warm. That is why people are coming there, because there's just no place for them to live. So I don't know how we change that, but and I think that's as a community, and it's not specifically one organization, but we really need to look at how, and I know it doesn't happen overnight, but there is no place for people to live. And people, unfortunately, if they're receiving EIA, they're getting $245 a month to live. So how does somebody live off that, and how do you worry about paying rent and all those other things? So it's those basic needs that really we're kind of missing as a society, and how we can get those things and getting people to the sort of the next step.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Again, I reiterate, thank you very much for coming and everything that you're doing in the community. And yeah. And we offer it every time. If you want to stay for the whole meeting, you can. So.
We'll see you guys later. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night. So all in favor of the information from the delegation? Any opposed? Of course not. Motion carried. And we will move to consent agenda, the media's favorite part of the meeting. Let's start with action items. Number 1, outstanding water accounts that are added to taxes. We mentioned it earlier, the addition to tonight's meeting. So be it resolved that the following water accounts be added to taxes. 21 6th Avenue Northeast, $400.53. Previous tenant didn't pay the final water bill. And that's the case with these other two as well. 207 6th Avenue Northeast for $220.90 and $156.40 for 106 King Street. So that all totals up to $777.83. And that is recommended by the Director of Finance and Utility Clerk. Let's move to, we've got 3 proclamations today. I don't know who has what, so we're going to start with the Municipal Government Awareness Week proclamation.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Whereas municipal government is the level of government closest to the people and plays a vital role in shaping the quality of life in our community. And whereas community participation in municipal elections is important to ensure fair representation and responsive leadership. And whereas community involvement in local government decision-making is essential to a healthy democratic system and helps build strong, vibrant communities. And whereas understanding municipal government operations and the services it provides is of primary importance to meaningful participation at the local level. And whereas Municipal Government Awareness Week provides an opportunity to educate residents about the responsibilities of municipal councils and the essential services delivered every day. And whereas this week encourages citizens to learn more about how their local government works and to engage in shaping the future of their municipality. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim November 23rd to 29th, 2025 as Municipal Government Awareness Week.
Thank you, Councillor Stakilo. The next proclamation is National Substance Use Awareness Week.
I have that proclamation. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Whereas substance use and addiction affect individuals, families, and communities across Canada, impacting health, relationships, and overall community well-being. And whereas National Substance Use Awareness Week is an opportunity to increase the understanding of substance use, reduce stigma, and promote compassion, prevention, harm reduction, and recovery. And whereas every person's experience with substance use is unique, and people who use substances deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, and to have access to timely supports and services that foster health and healing. Community organizations, healthcare providers, first responders, and governments at all levels are working together to address the complex issues surrounding substance use with a focus on education, prevention, and care. And whereas the City of Dauphin recognizes the importance of supporting individuals and families affected by substance use and of building a community that is informed, compassionate, and free of stigma. Therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, proclaim November 24th to 30th, 2025, National Substance Use Awareness Week.
Thank you, Councillor Sobering. And the final proclamation, International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Whereas the International Day of Persons with Disabilities has been commemorated since 1992 to promote action and raise awareness relating to the inclusion of persons with disabilities. And whereas the theme for 2025, Fostering Disability Inclusive Societies for Advancing Social Progress, recognizes the importance of creating societies that are inclusive of people with disabilities to drive social progress and development. And whereas the City of Dauphin is committed to following best practices in ensuring our community is accessible, user-friendly, and inclusive of all people's needs in order to empower and create opportunities for all people living with a disability to enjoy and fully participate in society. Now, therefore, we, the Council of the City of Dauphin, do hereby proclaim December 3rd, 2025 as International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. That proclamation was item number 4. So we'll move to item 5. It's Christmas closure. So be it resolved that Council authorizes and approves the following closure of city departments for the Christmas season. And that is Wednesday, December 24th, 2025, with a closure at 12 noon, and Wednesday, December 31st, 2025, with a closure at noon as well. Further, be it resolved that any employee required to work during closure hours approved by this resolution be given an equivalent number of hours off on a mutually agreed upon later date. And further, be it resolved that if any employee's regularly scheduled day off is December 24th, 2025, or December 31st, 2025, no additional time off shall be granted. Under B, filing items, 3 here, Association of Manitoba Municipalities, AMM member advisories, the annual documents for review, as well as the Celebrate Municipal Government Awareness Week. Number 2 is the Prairie Mountain Health Plus newsletter for November. And number 3 is the Parkland Chamber of Commerce Chamber Matters newsletter for November as well. And that is recommended by the Deputy Mayor and City Manager. So moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that all items listed and read under item 5 consent agenda be approved and form part of these minutes. Any last minute questions or comments? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that the finance accounts, having been examined by council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. This is check totals 1220 to 1301. That's 82 checks totaling $1,947,140.26. No voided checks in the current range. No voided checks in past ranges. There were 6 EFT payments totaling $40,838.77. And October 2025, there were 4 for $207,430.92. Any questions or comments regarding those numbers? Can't remember if I mentioned, but there were 82 checks total. Call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following engineering staff report for tonight's regular council meeting. This is the building inspector report for the month of October. Any questions or comments there? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information for the following protective services report for November's this regular council meeting here tonight. This is the bylaw enforcement officer's report for October. Any questions or comments on this report? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? And carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following Protective Services report for tonight's regular council meeting. This one is the Animal Services Officer report for October. Any questions or comments regarding this one? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? No. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the minutes and reports from the following committees: the Fort Dauphin Museum's regular board meetings on September 3rd and October 1st, and their manager's report for November 5th, and the Sharps Committee update for November 13th. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes and reports? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion carried. Okay. Deep breath. Moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas the City of Dauphin's Ready to Move childcare project is funded under the Canada-Manitoba Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare Agreement, which is a key element of Manitoba's commitment to create 23,000 new childcare spaces by the year 2026. And whereas Council by Resolution 2025-557, dated October 20th of this year, acknowledged correspondence from the Honourable Tracy Schmidt, Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning, advising that the City of Dauphin has been approved for an additional capital funding of up to $1.06 million, increasing the total capital grant from $5.5 million to $6.56 million to support additional costs and ensure completion of the city's 104-space childcare center at the corner of 6th Avenue Southeast and 3rd Street Southeast. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated November 3rd of this year from Lily Millard, Portfolio Manager, Capital Development, Manitoba Early Education and Childhood Learning, and an amending agreement between the Government of Manitoba and the City of Dauphin, which increases the maximum provincial contribution to $6,561,116.66, updates the total estimated project cost to $6,936,116.66, and extends the project completion date to April 30th, 2027, and the agreement end date to April 30th, 2028. And further be it resolved, the Council authorizes the amending agreement between the Government of Manitoba and the City of Dauphin to be signed and sealed by the Mayor and City Manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. Any questions or comments there? I was going to ask just the difference between the total estimated project cost and the provincial contributions off by a couple $100,000.
Yeah, certainly.
Why is that?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor. So to answer your question, the City of Dauphin is expected to provide some contribution to this. Things like the land and servicing, water, sewer, that kind of thing. And then in that difference in numbers are the in-kind cost. So it's not a hard money cost. The land was valued at fair market, and so that gets put into the agreement as well. So it's all valuated, but it's not necessarily a $400,000 financial commitment. And I was going to say just thanks for Council's patience. This project seems to be going on for a long time, and we are excited that the province has stepped up and properly funded, or we're hoping more properly funding our project. It's not fancy, but it is something that we are proud to say that we put it together ourselves, as opposed to going through a different route that the province had for others. And perhaps that is one of the differences in the funding requirement versus the funding that was originally offered. We have in council chambers a new sign that will be going up on the space. We are waiting for the general contractor to be assigned. We're working with the architect that the city has hired. We have another meeting tomorrow. And we will be getting the final dates of when the project will be going out to tender. It's a massive tender document, I think 300 pages worth of bidding. The municipalities or our municipality is not fluent in structural bids for commercial buildings. So this is definitely something that we are appreciating our help with our architect, and to see the work that goes into it. It's a lot different than paving a road or laying some pipe underground. So we will see more updates as that happens over the winter, and we're expected to be breaking ground in the spring.
Thank you. Any further questions? Yes, excited to see this get moving a little further here. Call the questions then. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Mayor Boziak, seconded by Councillor Stakilo, whereas the City of Dauphin and the Rural Municipality of Dauphin entered into an intermunicipal boundary roads agreement dated November 17th, 2020 regarding the maintenance and operation of boundary roads. And whereas a situation has arisen concerning installation, maintenance, and ownership of signage pertaining to one municipality but installed within the jurisdiction of the other municipality. So be it resolved that council accepts as information a addendum to the intermunicipal boundary roads agreement and a memorandum dated November 14th, 2025 from the city manager recommending the approval, which clarifies that any signage installed by one municipality within the jurisdiction of the other shall be maintained by the municipality that installed the signage and to which the signage applies. The installing municipality shall be solely responsible for all associated costs, including installation, maintenance, repair, and replacement. Prior written approval must be obtained before installing signage in the other municipality's jurisdiction, and both municipalities must consult if signage affects operations or infrastructure of the other municipality. And further be it resolved that council agrees with the city manager's recommendation, approves the addendum to the intermunicipal boundary roads agreement, and authorizes the addendum to be signed and sealed by the city manager on behalf of the city of Dauphin. Any questions or comments here? Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
So it was a really big, long resolution, and there's a 1-page addendum to an agreement that the ARM and the city has. It is basic. It came about because one municipality would like to install speed ahead signs before their municipal boundary to note that what the speed is going forward. And when we started talking about it, we said, we don't have anything in our agreement that talks about us putting up a sign in one municipality that it pertains to the next one. So this is just an agreement to say, if the city wants to say heads up, it will be, the speed limit will be reducing to 50 kilometers an hour. We would work with the arm of Dauphin to put that in the arm Dauphin side so that it starts at 50, and then vice versa for them.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll call the questions. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Daly. Whereas, according to the City of Dauphin travel and expense policy, all out-of-province travel must receive a prior approval by council. So be it resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated November 13th, 2025 from the Fire Chief requesting approval to attend the Canadian Association of Fire Chiefs Government Relations Week in Ottawa, Ontario. It's happening from November 30th to December 3rd of this year, of course. Further be it resolved that council approves this out-of-province travel request and authorizes all costs to be borne by the City of Dauphin. Any questions? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? And motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sobering, whereas Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure is responsible for the maintenance of designated provincial roads within the City of Dauphin, and both parties have historically collaborated to ensure safe and effective winter operations. And whereas MTI has requested that the City of Dauphin continue to provide snow removal services on specified provincial roads within city limits and has agreed to provide total payment of $81,713 to the City of Dauphin for the related snow removal and hauling services. Be it resolved that Council approves the 2025-26 snow removal agreement between the Government of Manitoba, as represented by the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, and the City of Dauphin for the provision of winter maintenance services on designated provincial roadways within the City of Dauphin. And further be it resolved that Council authorizes the 2025-26 snow removal agreement to be signed and sealed by the City Manager on behalf of the City of Dauphin. You want to
I
make a
can-
comment on this one
I can
too?
speak
Go
to that
ahead.
one
Yeah.
as well. So the province and municipalities all over Manitoba enter into different types of agreements based on whatever work that the province might be doing for a municipality or a municipality might be doing for a province. So in this example, on provincial highways within the City of Dauphin, the province has offered the city an agreement as what we see before us today for winter snow removal. This was a similar agreement, virtually the same agreement as what we operated under last year. The service roads at the south end were new, and we found that our crews were able to handle that work. We did ask for a cost of living increase on the total amount. However, the province said, sorry, we can't do that, but we will always definitely take a look at that money value and ensure that we are able to do the work for the province so that the ratepayers of the City of Dauphin is not subsidizing the province on their responsibilities.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, call those. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Staccato, seconded by Mayor Boziak. Whereas the City of Dauphin contracts 911 services from the City of Brandon, and the 911 fee schedule is updated each October for the following year. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information 911 Services Agreement Schedule A and correspondence dated October 31st, 2025 from Rochelle Gimino, Administrative Assistant for the City of Brandon Public Safety Communication Center. And further be it resolved that Council forwards the funding request from the City of Brandon Public Safety Communication Center to the City of Dauphin's 2026 budget deliberations for consideration. Another comment.
Sure, another comment. And this is maybe a
Yeah.
little bit more of interest, and maybe council is aware, but 911 services outside of Winnipeg are all provided to the remainder 136 municipalities by the City of Brandon. They have the contract to do that. So it's, I know when I saw that the City of Brandon is providing that, I wasn't quite sure why, but they have the contract to do that. It will be part of the 2026 budget deliberations, but just for reference, the 2026 estimate, $43,764.64 is what that 911 service provision will cost the City of Dauphin for next year.
Thank you. Any other questions? No. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas Section 168(1) of the Municipal Act provides that a council may by bylaw establish reserve funds for any general or specific purpose. And whereas Council enacted Bylaw 01/2025 on February 3rd of this year to authorize the creation of a development reserve fund for the purpose of purchasing land, buildings, and infrastructure and the development thereof to support and facilitate economic growth and community development in the City of Dauphin. So be it resolved that Council accepts as information the terms of reference for the development reserve, which outlines its purpose, scope, decision-making process, evaluation criteria, and reporting requirements, and a memorandum dated October 31st of this year from the Economic Development Manager recommending that the terms of reference be approved. And further be it resolved that Council agrees with the Economic Development Manager's recommendation and approves the terms of reference for the administration of the Development Reserve. Any questions or comments regarding this? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that bylaw 12/2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, amending bylaw 02/2009 for the regulation and control of traffic and parking in the City of Dauphin. This is accessible parking on 2nd Avenue Northwest. Be now read a second time. I'll call the questions. All in favor? And any opposed? None. Motion carried. So, moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Skylo. Be it resolved that bylaw 12/2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, amending bylaw 02/2009 for the regulation and control of traffic and parking in the City of Dauphin. Again, this is accessible parking on 2nd Avenue Northwest. Be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the Deputy Mayor and City Manager. This is recorded votes. We'll start to my left. Councillor Sobering, in favor. Councillor Stakilo, in favor. Councillor Bellemare, in favor. Councillor Ray, in favor. Councillor Daly, in favor. And Mayor Boziak, in favor. Thank you very much. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that bylaw 13/2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to prescribe fees, fines, and charges for municipal services, be now read a first time. I'll call the question there. All in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Mayor Boziak. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following community event, and this is the Prairie Mountain Health Rapid Access to Addictions Medicine Knowledge Exchange for November 12th to December 3rd of this year. Call the question there. All in favor? Motion carried. And moved by Councillor Stakilo, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information Council reports for the regular Council meeting tonight. And we'll really mess it up tonight. We'll start with Councillor Bellemare. Yes.
Not ready. Okay, council work. On November the 10th, Dauphin and District Allied Arts Council, there were reps from that group as well as the city. And there's an agreement that outlines the relationship between these two bodies. And we started talking about what may need to be tweaked in the future. We're planning ahead. And on that same day, planning and priorities meeting. And on the 12th, a Dauphin and Area Welcoming Committee meeting. And certainly we've heard the federal government's announcements about future immigration numbers, and that will have an impact on our rural area because we have been using people who have immigrated to fill key jobs in our positions at various, like our hospital and Ritz and so forth. So they're still figuring out the impact that those new numbers are going to have on our rural area. And after this meeting tonight, I'm attending a regional library meeting online. And so 21 different municipalities will be represented. On the 11th, I laid a wreath for the Rotary Club at the Remembrance Day ceremony, which was well attended. And coming up on Friday, there's an art sale at the Watson. And we have almost 200 pieces of art for sale. And we also have some fun activities to keep you hanging around. You can decorate a cookie, you can make a button. We have 3 posters, really nice sized posters, one like Mona Lisa and one a European king, and the face is cut out, and you can pay and get your picture taken of you looking like Mona Lisa or whatever. And we have artists that are actually painting and free cupcakes, and there's a bar. So, and plus there's a bargain bin as well. So we're hoping you will come and support the Watson at this event. And just finish with some congratulations. Teresa DeHolis from the museum is retiring. She has been filling the job as the executive director and curator for I'm not sure how long. I'm not good with past dates, but certainly she has been at the helm doing all kinds of great things at the museum, and she's also been on our City Beautification Advisory Committee. So I wish her very great things happening in your retirement, Teresa, and thank you for all that you've done for us over the years. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. November 3rd was our last regular council meeting. On the 10th, along with Councillor Daly, I attended the CAB meeting at noon. Later that afternoon, I met with Margaret Zamercut of PMH regarding the disposal bins in the city, and then later that day attended our planning and priorities meeting here at City Hall. On the 13th, I joined a Sharps Committee Teams meeting, and that was about it. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Ray. Online now, Councillor Daly.
Okay, found my mouse. I'm good. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. On the third council meeting, on the 10th with Councillor Ray, MMF Community Advisory Board meeting, on the 10th as well, planning and priority. I go back a ways here, just hold on. On the 4th, sat in on a Assiniboine College planning meeting, which isn't sort of council related, but some of the topics that we have on planning do relate or will relate and be beneficial for council at some point, hopefully in some partnerships. Attended the Remembrance Day service on the 11th. On the 13th, attended with City Manager Griffiths, Economic Development Martijn Van Leeuwen, Deputy Mayor Lachlan, and I with the CEDI meeting with respect to the properties from Pine Creek and development future. Very interesting stuff. On the 15th, Saturday, I attended the NDP constituency dinner, did some little bit of work there. I quit bidding on the Premier's chocolate cake at $190. I bailed, and it went for $530. So it was a good call on my part. That's it for my report.
Must have been a really good cake.
Oh.
Mayor Bozia, no pressure, but do you want to?
Yes, I
mention
do.
anything?
When's the last time, Deputy Mayor, that you saw me not take an opportunity to have a mic in front of my face? And I don't.
Here we go.
Here we go. So get comfortable, people. Actually, no. In my current situation, obviously, I've not been very active, and the little activity that I'm doing is. I have to remember that I'm in a recovery period and I tend to take it easy. But I did have a meeting with the Premier on Saturday when he was in town for the event with MLA Castician. And so it was a really good opportunity to spend about 45 minutes face to face to bring some of the issues, projects that we're working on directly to his attention. I always find it interesting when, there are certain things that he's very aware of and other things that, he does that's very interesting. And then his assistant makes some notes. So I think it was very positive, and I trust that Councillor Daly will also have an opportunity the next day or two to continue some of the dialogue with some of the other ministers as he attends the throne speech. I do just want to state finally that I've been just watching some of the online activity related to the new project we have with the Rail Museum and the Via Passenger Service, and the information that the museum, and I'm assuming it's Jason Gilmore, is providing to people that are waiting for the train. And it looks like so far the first couple weeks of the program has been very positively received by passengers in the community. So I trust that that continues in a positive light. And other than seeing your student rep beside you, Deputy Mayor, I'd like to welcome her to the meeting. And that's all from me. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mayor Bozia. Youth member Danica will be back shortly with her report. But first, Councillor Sobering.
Everybody has to stay awake tonight. Don't get rested. Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Not a huge agenda. I did attend the November 10th meeting. I laid a wreath on behalf of the city on the November 11th Remembrance Day ceremony at the Cenotaph, and it was, as usual, a very well done event and a good turnout from the public. On November the 12th, I attended a meeting here in the council chambers regarding the Craft District. What I felt was a pretty simple sidewalk widening is turning into a very elaborate and complex infrastructure project, but I am very inspired by the amount of talented people we had in our room, and I am very confident that all of the issues have solutions, and we're going to work toward that with a really excellent outcome. So I was really positive feeling as I left that meeting. Other than that, I was I think that concludes my report. Not much else to say. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Councillor.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Here we go.
I did.
Yeah.
I knew it. I
Yeah,
knew I
here we
forgot
go.
something. Everybody may or may not have heard, but if you haven't, I'd just like to repeat the Country Fest Community Cinema is in dire need of support from everyone, big or small. They're doing a GoFundMe, and I believe they're also receiving donations directly. So I think there's an initiative to keep the lights on in the short term, just to help pay some of the bills. And I think they're working really hard at trying to create a longer term strategy with some bigger, better outcomes. But if you haven't, please go on to their Instagram page, their Facebook page. Just make sure you get out to the theater if you have a chance and fill the seats. Any help, big or small, would be much appreciated. So that ends my report.
So could I ask a question, Councillor Sobering? So some people have asked about whether they should give directly rather than go through the GoFundMe page because of fees. So what would I say to them about that?
Yeah, I would just encourage them to just reach directly out to the theater. I know there was some social media posts where they said they were receiving them directly. I know there are people that would rather donate without the fees that maybe GoFundMe. But so I guess I would put it this way. I think anybody who's willing to give money to the theater, they will make sure they receive it in any way, shape, or form. If you show up there with a jar full of pennies, they will take it. So I would say just any way, anyhow. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Sobering. Councillor Stakilo.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. For myself, November 3rd, regular council meeting, the 10th, the planning and priorities meeting. And I too was in attendance at the Remembrance Day service on the 11th. I will echo what Councillor Sobering was saying just in regards to the cinema. Yeah, it's just any support that you can provide the cinema at this time would be greatly appreciated. Also, to I know people have been purchasing gift cards with the holiday season just around the corner. That is another avenue or another opportunity to support the cinema. So it's certainly greatly appreciated, and it's a wonderful asset that we have in our community. And as our population's growing, and as we're trying to increase the amount of sports teams that come, the events that come to our community. It's great to have the extra amenities that our community offers, and the cinema is one of them. So hopefully, with support, it continues, or it'll start to thrive again. So that ends my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Stakilo. And lastly, our youth member, Danica. What have you got for us? Yeah, you betcha.
Thank you. Since the last meeting, November 3rd, the Student Council has discussed activities regarding the Christmas season. On November 7th, the DRCSS has Remembrance Day Assembly, where myself and a friend spoke throughout. The DRCSS choir and senior band performed, and the Student Council laid wreaths.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Danica, I have a question just to drag this on a little bit longer. There's rumors going around that the Remembrance Day service will be moved next year. Is that true? Can you confirm that?
It's possible.
Okay.
There's some discussions. I think it's not decided upon.
Okay. We will leave it at that then. All in favor of accepting the councillors' reports? Carried? I'm good. Everything that I did was mentioned, so I just don't want to drag things on. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sobering. Be it resolved that this council meeting be recessed at 5:58. Thank you everyone for watching and attending, and we'll see you in December. And don't forget about the Christmas parade on November 29th. Very exciting.